Do you need to change the brake discs and or pads on your Peugeot 107? Stay tuned and let me show you how. Raise the car up onto axle stands, handbrake tight on, and chock one of the rear wheels and remove the front wheels. This is quite a dirty job, so I suggest wearing gloves. I also suggest having a large tray or plenty of newspaper on the ground below your work area. Put an 8mm ring spanner on your bleed nipple, attach bleed hose into a suitable receptacle and place a hose clamp on the hose. With a 14mm spanner or socket, undo the clamp that holds the hose to the suspension leg to give you more freedom of movement with the hose. Now open your bleed nipple, half a turn, start with a screwdriver, large flat one, start pushing your piston back. You can probably see the fluid starting to move down the tube. I like to then go to a wide bar because I feel it gives more purchase and more even pressure on the piston, and push the piston all the way back in the caliper, and close your bleed nipple. Take your hose off the bleed nipple. Now with a 13mm socket or spanner, loosen the slide pin bolts. I suggest removing the bottom one first. The top bolt has a thread lock patch, so you should find that your new brake pads come with two new bolts for the top position, and you may find that you can't undo that one by hand and you have to use the spanner all the way. Lift the caliper out of the way and then support it. You can then slide the pads out of the carrier using a flat blade. I'm not worried about damaging the pads because I'm replacing them. If you're only replacing the pads, you don't need to do this step, but because I'm replacing the disc as well, I need to undo the carrier bolts so that I can remove the carrier, otherwise I can't get the disc off. I suggest using a breaker bar, a 17mm socket, and then you'll be able to get them off with a normal ratchet handle. To remove the disc, undo the securing screw with a T30 Torx bit. The disc should come off now, but in all likelihood, if it's been on there a few years like this one has, you're going to need to give it a good smack to get it off. And a stout wire brush to give the hub face a clean. Use a small but stout brush to clean into the radius where the disc mounts. New brake discs come with an oily coating to prevent corrosion. So use a microfiber cloth and some brake cleaner to remove said coating. Also just give the inside surface in there a once over as well, because that's the surface that interfaces with the hub. Now you can offer your disc up, making sure to orientate it correctly. Start your screw by hand. In my opinion, the discs should come with a new screw, and if you can, I'd suggest that you get a new one. The carrier has 4 clips on it, which can easily be removed, which is what the brake discs run in. Those clips in place, and run your wire brush. Clean off all the dust and dirt. Give it a once over with some brake cleaner. Now prise back these boots, you can pull out the slide pins. Put some brake cleaner on your cloth as well. Give the slide pins a really good clean. The holes that the slide pins go into are blind. I use a small bottle brush and brake cleaner. Allow the brake cleaner a few moments to dry off. Now either use some Ceratec or some moly loaded lithium grease. Put a little inside each hole and on each shaft. Do not use copper grease. Put your slide pins back in, making sure to put each one back where it came from. Apply just a little Ceratec or moly grease. CV grease. Moly grease is also known as CV grease. It goes in your constant velocity joints. Spread some Ceratec in your brake pad clips. Return the carrier position and bolt it back up. If you've got a torque wrench, 90 Newton meters, otherwise known as very tight. Place your new pads into the carrier. Hopefully your new pads would have come with a pair of bolts which go in the slide pins, one for each side, on the top position. The reason to put these on the top position is that it's much more important that the top does not come undone than the bottom. If the bottom slide pin bolt comes undone, the caliper will still operate with the wheel going round that way. If the top bolts came out and the bottom one was still in place, the caliper can fall forwards into the inside of the wheel and you can lose your braking almost completely then. Believe it or not, that is an issue that I have experienced. Slide the caliper into position. Once you've got the new screw into position a turn or two, you'll find you then need to take it the rest of the way with a spanner. You may not be able to turn it by fingers. You might also find that the head is a different size. 30 Newton meters. Don't forget to remove your hose clamp and put your hose bracket into position. And as I was about to say then, make sure that you reconnect the pipe to the bracket on the strut. Pump the brake pedal a few times, make sure that it goes hard so that the pads and the pistons are all brought into contact. And yes, I've been a complete idiot. Guess what I managed to do? Yes, I managed to delete the last little bit of video off my camera before downloading it to my laptop. So yeah, brilliant. But luckily we'd finished the job pretty much. All you have to do now is drop the car back on the ground. Don't forget to recover the chocks from the rear wheels, and that's it, good to go. Don't forget, if you got value out of this video, please give it a like. It really does help the video to come up the search rankings. Add any comments you've got, any experiences you've got that can add to the collective consciousness. You know you want to. Resistance is futile. And I shall see you next time.